The October meeting of the City of Lawrence Redevelopment Commission is hereby called to order. The chair has determined that we have a quorum, and the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the special meeting minutes, which we just got our hands on today. And having reviewed the minutes, do the commissioners have any questions regarding those? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I motion to approve.
And do I hear a second? Second.
Is it here?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Reg, do I hear a second?
So moved.
Thank you.
There we go.
Moved and seconded. Joe, do you want me to call?
We do need to do a roll call vote because we've got someone virtual. So we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Clifford?
Yes.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Well, it's,
Oh, right.
I was not here at the meeting.
Commissioner Howard?
Approved.
And Commissioner McGregor?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the vouchers. And again, if the commissioners have no questions regarding those, the vouchers amount is significantly less than it was last time. It's $6,307. If there are no questions, once again, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Yeah.
Roll call again.
Commissioner Clifford?
Yes.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner McGregor?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the RDC financial update, which we just got our hands on. Any comments on those?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. There really hasn't been any significant change from prior month. Unless you guys have any questions, I'll bring it up to you. If you guys have any questions, you may.
Did we receive the deposit for the 10160 East 56th Street real estate sale? Yeah, I don't see it reflected.
It's not reflected here, but I do believe the controller received it. I think he just mentioned to me like 2 days ago, something like that, like a check came in, but it's not reflected in the September.
I just want to note that that's not reflected.
Correct.
I'm assuming that the 4399 sale is reflected.
Yes.
Okay. That's the only note I have for the group.
No other items to mention then? From Dan?
I might just point out to you that Garmong's invoice for the month didn't get submitted in time, so you'll probably have 2 invoices next month
Okay.
as far as your claims, but they're minor.
Thank you. If there are no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve vouchers.
We already approved the document.
I'm sorry, approve the vouchers. If there's nothing to approve, I apologize.
Are you okay?
Yeah. If there are no other comments,
When does the next tax increment come in? What month does it come in?
I want to say January because
That's what I would
we
assume.
received one, so, and I would estimate it about the same, about 350,000, between 350 to 370,000.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you being here.
Mr. Zerner.
Sir, so the, Joe, would you help me pass these out to
Yes.
Jerry, Cheryl, and
I sure will. Mr. Clifford,
Thank
there
you.
go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'm bringing before you today 2 change orders relative to the CSX ditch project. The first one is that a CSX required the installation of a new fence to run along the railroad's entire length of the grading limits, which was 2,100 linear feet. Keep in mind that we were paying this tremendous fee every day to have CSX flaggers online. So we certainly weren't going to slow that down and pay that charge again. So we went ahead and authorized that work to be done. That was at a cost of $5,250. So I think to keep it separate and make your voting easier, I would appreciate a formal approval of change order number 1 to Connexo for $5,250 relative to the railroad ditch project.
Motion to approve. 5,000. Motion to approve the change order, please.
Change order number 1.
Change order number 1. You want to do these separately?
Does that replace the flaggers? Is that the?
No, this is just a requirement that CSX had, and if we had not approved this, they would have pulled off charges to remobilization fee, and we'd have incurred a lot more cost.
Joe, between here and the car.
I've got a pen for you here if you need to borrow one.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Doctor. Second? We're trying to approve the change order for $5,200.
$250.
$250, excuse me.
Second, Terry.
Second, thank you. And
All right, we've got a motion and a second for change order number 1 in the amount of $5,250. Roll call vote. Commissioner Clifford,
yes,
Commissioner Sullivan,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
and Commissioner McGregor.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Change order number 2.
yep, I do. Thank you.
So the second item is change order number 2 relative to the same project. As you can see from the description on the change order, there's a large pipe that runs underneath the railroad that have washed out that CSX was insisting that we repair as part of this project. So we did go ahead and authorize that. It was $10,486. Frankly, after I saw it, I was surprised it wasn't more than that. Sri, as the city engineer, went ahead and authorized that on behalf of the RDC. So I would like an approval for that. To my knowledge, and from what I can tell, this is the last of the change orders we'll anticipate for this project based upon the closeout schedule.
So both of these are retroactive approvals?
Yes.
correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
that is correct. Both of these have already,
These already approved, why do we need to approve them?
that's because the RDC is the financial body responsible for the actual payment. So the Sri Venugopalan directed them to proceed to save the RDC money, but he's not an RDC member. So that's why we need to have the approval. It's just a formality for their contract since we hold the contract. Again, this was a really compressed timetable of just 3 or 4 weeks to do this entire project. And because we only meet once a month, there just wasn't an opportunity to delay the approval.
That would have cost us money to delay it. Yeah.
I motion to approve
Second?
change order check.
Second, Reginald McGregor.
All right, we have a motion and a second for change order 2, the amount of $10,486. The roll call vote for approval.
Yes.
Commissioner Clifford, yes. Commissioner Sullivan,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
and Commissioner McGregor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
We'll get your signature. Do we need? I assume we need their signature on that. Looks like.
Just needs Jerry's signature on those 2. Okay, the next item on my agenda is, or on the agenda, is a Trades District update. Banning has completed the Record Street proposed construction alignment survey that we authorized back in August, July or August, I think it was August. It's been completed. The appraisal work I've asked to place on hold. I don't want to do appraisal work because they're only good for so long. I think we need to get to a point where we're pretty confident that the council and others and the funding will be available to complete the project before we actually go through the appraisal work. So I've asked for it to be placed on hold till after the first of the year, and we get a chance to understand what the new council's position will be on that matter. So right now, at this point in time, the survey is complete. The appraisal work has not started. We do have a complete listing of the impacted property owners to complete the road work as it's designed. So nothing else new will happen on that now until after the first of the year. Any questions regarding the trades? Oh, well, we might as well finish. I didn't really finish this. We're anticipating the the CSX project. You did get an observation report dated October 4th. The final walkthrough is scheduled for the week of 10/16 to 10/20. Punch list after that. So we should be completely done with the CSX ditch project by 10/31. You should have all received today, but maybe not had a chance to look at the pictures from the project. You can tell it's going to be an amazing difference in what it looked like before we started. So, any other questions regarding the trades district before I move on? Hearing none, the next item to discuss is the charging station study update. I do believe you all received from me copies of the renderings relative to what the charging stations might look like. Should at some point in time the City of Lawrence choose to undertake that. There is a public information session that I'm hoping the RDC can be well represented at that will be at 6:30 on November the 9th. That's the Thursday following our meeting. We couldn't move it up because of the Board of Works meeting here at 5, but at 6:30 the meeting will begin, and it's anticipated to last to 8 o'clock to give a chance to show all the things that have been a part of the study to the public and get public feedback of anything else that they might like to complete. I do believe on the 9th you may also have at the RDC meeting the Lockmuller group here to give you kind of a summary update of where we are with the study and to be sure that there's nothing else that that the RDC is going to want in terms of information that's not planned. Kind of give you a schedule of where they are, what is remaining. The MPO and Lockmuller have asked that they submit the final report to us and have a summary report at our meeting on December 14th for the RDC to approve so that the MPO can close this study out by the end of the year. So it's my goal to have the report in your hands a week or so prior to the 12/14 meeting in its full final form so you can review it and be sure that everybody's accepting of the work that they've done. And we can discuss that more on the 9th of November when they're with us. So that's where we are with the charging study at the moment. The 10160 56th Street property sale on the agenda will be removed. It's been closed. The Ready Grant, I've included.
Before you leave that,
Yep.
you attended the last meeting for the steering committee, and your reaction to that meeting, as I recall, was very positive.
Are we reflecting the Ready Grant?
No, I'm sorry. I'm back to the EV study.
Yes, I thought it was the most positive I've felt about the study to date. I really felt like they finally started to pull a lot of that information together for us and get it into pretty decent form. So we should be seeing a lot come out on this public hearing, and that will help all of the people on this commission as well as the public understand the things we've learned.
And on the 9th, that's so we can look forward to, well, very positively, based on what you experienced recently, their input to us in terms of what they've accomplished.
Yes.
And then at that meeting, that's the one opportunity we're going to have to say, okay, we understand where you are and what you've done. What about this?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would go a little bit further than that and say that I think we have 48 to 72 hours after that meeting to provide some feedback once we've all digested it of what we want to see in the final report.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ready 2 grant pursuit update. I'm going to leave that item for Corey as part of her comments. I have included a timeline to you, Mr. Clifford, that I don't think got distributed to everybody else that Corey can address as to what to expect coming up on that. Joe, one more handout if you would.
Yeah. And then Dan, before you get too far, we skipped over 28 brownfields.
Okay, skipped over brownfields. Thank you.
Hit that real quick.
Appreciate you keeping me up to date on that.
This is my copy of what Dan just read.
Okay, we'll back up to brownfields. Thank you. On brownfields, the RFP for the new 2023 $400,000 grant, which came into effect October 1st. That's important for everybody to know. It came into effect October 1st of 23. The RFP for the consultant to help us with that, as BCA helped us administer the 2019 grant, is due 11/1. On 11/9 in the morning, that same morning, and we're talking about all these other activities, we have scheduled interviews of those firms. It's my understanding, Mr. Clifford, that you've asked Mr. Klein to represent the RDC and for him to pick one other person from the RDC. Is that correct?
No, actually, Reggie and Jared will both.
Reggie and Jared will represent the
Yes, they
RDC.
will.
Okay, great. Now,
And the other members of that group would be Sri and
there's actually 4 or 5, if I stop to think about it. It's Joe, me, Sri, the mayor's been invited, and Corey's been invited. But that, I need to make sure that everybody understands that the grant is not an RDC grant.
Correct.
The grant is a City of Lawrence grant.
Yes.
But because the RDC is so intimately involved in all these details, I'm asking that the RDC be involved in understanding and selecting the person to represent us. So that will happen.
Be involved in this case means that you're directing the activity and that we're doing that in the city's behalf.
That's correct.
Thank you.
So that'll happen the morning of the 9th. We'll interview firms based upon the RFP submissions. Right now, we actually have 4 firms that I know are going to submit, so we will be well represented as far as the EPA is concerned into a valid selection process. I have completed a score sheet to be used with points assigned to the proposal response, as well as the various aspects of what the scope of their responsibility will be as our consultant. So we intend for this to be a truly above-board, open selection process to get the best consultant to service. But that will happen on the morning of the 9th.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's pretty much where we are as far as the 2023 grant. I'll hop on down to my notes I added at the bottom. The 2019 grant that you all know was supposed to expire September 30th has formally been extended for 1 year. And as part of that, we have $48,000 left in that grant. That $48,000 has to be used for sites that may have a petroleum influence. To that extent, we have submitted 4 sites for consideration in the Trades District by EPA and IDEM. I received today letters of approval from EPA and IDEM for those 4 sites to be included in qualifying to be utilized in that $48,000. I'm really not ready to do that yet until we get closer to the first of the year and decide we're going to move forward, because I don't want to get property owners all excited about us evaluating their properties if in fact for some reason we decide not to do it. So, but I do have all the approvals. I have everything in my pocket to utilize those monies. All right, so that's brownfields related, unless anybody has any questions relative to brownfields. The next item is Joe passed out to you the FHRA project update. It's the Keystone Development groundbreaking. That's one of the most exciting things under my time frame here that's going to happen is the introduction of the new Benjamin Luxury Apartments and Shops. That groundbreaking is scheduled for the 24th at 11 a.m., and we'd certainly be glad to have any RDC members attend. And if you're going to attend, I would encourage you to RSVP as it shows on the front of this publication. The next item is the 6405 Oak Landon Fire Station redevelopment. If you'll recall, last month, the RDC approved a title search of that property so we could determine who actually owned it and we could pursue redevelopment. You approved that for $350. What we learned was, we do have the title search completed. What we learned was that that belongs to the Oakland Fire Department LLC, which was somewhat dissolved from everything we can tell in the 80s.
Excuse me, Oak Landon.
Yeah.
Oak Landon, I meant to say Oak Landon, I'm sorry.
Problem?
It hasn't existed for decades. And yet the city has been administering and dealing with that property as if it was the city's. So we're now in the process of getting that formally in the city's hands. Legal has a strategy for that. But there has been a change in that disposition. The various department heads have met for the city, and they've determined that it's not in the city's best interest to let that building continue to stand and be a fire station. Because every time we've gone to let somebody say they're going to improve it, it never really does get improved. And the other complicating factor is if we allow business to go in there, there's only 15 or 20 parking spaces for the park that it butts, and then almost always whoever's in that building is using the parking spaces that really belong to the park. And that the Oak Landon citizens are upset about that on almost a constant basis. So what the city would like to do is to reclaim that fire station, to take it down and turn it into additional park property and get it out of the hands. So I made it clear that while I think it's justifiable that we paid for the title search as part of the redevelopment and see that property repurposed, that it's not the RDC's responsibility to do the demolition for the fire station building for it to be a park. And so the city's agreed at this point to take all the action over. The street department will do the demolition. The park department will do the redevelopment to put it in the park. So as far as I'm concerned, this comes off the line item for the RDC going forward. And I have notified the parties that were interested in that building that that's the city's position. Any questions relative to that?
No, thank you. That's great.
As far as other business, I thought I'd bring to your attention that we have a company that has expressed a formal interest in building a new hotel at 11551 Pendleton Pike. They asked for our support and for us to take a position relative to incentives. My response was, I provided Mr. Clifford a copy of my formal response, but my formal response, as summarized, said that the city welcomes the potential investment, that certainly if done properly, it could help this redevelopment commission's efforts to improve the Pike. But we would not be supportive of it if it was not a name brand flag. It needs to be a Courtyard by Marriott or something Hilton or something Holiday Inn, or it's not. We're not interested in a group coming in and building a building just to create some type of hospitality that doesn't have any name brand recognition. I also directed them that while in the right scenario, we'd be supportive incentives. The incentives had to be driven by Develop Indy and the Indy Chamber based upon the way that works here in Marion County. So I have submitted a formal response, and it is kind of exciting to think about potentially having another hotel. We certainly could use it with all the athletic activities that occur here on the weekends, but that's where we are with that at the moment.
Is there an existing structure there now?
There is, and I need to go out and see what it is.
What's the address?
It is 11551 Pendleton Pike, and when I look at it online, it almost looks like a hotel of some sort in a strip fashion right now. That's what concerned me when I saw it, that I wanted to be sure that they understood our interpretation of a hotel was something specific.
So the property is for sale now?
They own it already.
Yeah.
They already own that property.
Okay.
And it's my assumption they would demo
yeah.
what's there and put up something new.
So that is,
not
that is
included
the historic 67 Motel on the south side of Pendleton Pike, just past German Church Road.
It's
If you're
kind of
familiar
what
with
it
that
looked like on
location.
the top. Yeah.
Yeah, the church just to the north of it was just bought out and turned into a child care center. It's right across from that Oak Landon nursery.
So I made it clear that we had specific expectations if we were going to go down that road. The last thing that I have, and I'm going to ask Corey for comments, is November the 14th. We have set aside a date with the schools to host a luncheon at, what's the name of the school's restaurant?
Bernie's Place.
At Bernie's Place, with inviting businesses from the trades district to participate with the schools to discuss what we might like the experiential center that we've been proposing to build and develop in the trades district. What should its mission be? What should it serve? How does it have relevance? And the reason that's so important to us at this particular time is we believe that may have a real basis for the READY grant that we're seeking and help us build our case for the READY grant. So Corey and Joe are leading that effort. There's also been some discussion with Andrew Carty and IEDC relative to entrepreneurialism and how it may tie into that center. So we're starting to work through those details relative to that. The last thing, I thought that was the last thing, there's one more. You've heard me discuss in past months requests for a tax abatement on the old PX building to serve two potential tenants as it's being developed in Meyer-Najum. The city hasn't taken a formal position on that other than writing a letter supporting the FHRA's request for approval on that tax abatement. That is going to be in front of the council next week on the 18th to hear. So we think that is important, though, to finish the PX project out and restore it to its glory. And Jeff Best and Heather Milliken and the FHRA board have asked for our support, which I did give in writing.
The Indianapolis Department of Metropolitan Development signed off on that last night at their meeting.
So we'll see where the council ends up. So with that, I'd like to invite Corey Korn to come up and make administrative comments from the city.
Melissa,
Oh,
are you aware of the building he's talking about?
yeah.
Excellent.
I know what one that is. But that, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
The city council still has to approve it, even though the TIF to that goes to FHRA.
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have any impact at all on the city's budget or finances. It's just a formality by law.
Are they aware that that's coming in front
Yes.
of them in the agenda? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello. How
Hey,
is
Jerry,
it?
can you repeat, can she repeat that for me?
Say again, Reg, please.
Can you repeat what she said? I didn't hear that. I heard you guys
So
say yes.
Even though the tax abatement request is in a TIF that's controlled by the FHRA and does not impact the city's finances at all, statutorily, the city council has to approve that tax abatement.
Okay.
Thanks for being here, Corey.
Thank you. Just as Dan mentioned, want to update a little bit on READY. The working group met on October 4th, which consists of, for CERTA, which consists of representatives from all 33 different municipalities and members of CERTA for this grant application. Also, prior to
Could
that.
you tell them who CERTA is, what that acronym stands for?
CERTA stands for Central Indiana Regional Development Association, and so we work together as a region to better advance what is happening here, in addition to what we're working on with READY. We are also working on some EPA grants and ability to work on some green initiatives for the region as well. So with CERTA, as Dan mentioned, with READY, as Dan mentioned, things look, I think, really positive after a meeting we had with HWC and Corey Weitzel about the trades district. Unfortunately, as you know, it's a $75 million that we can get as a region. So when you divide that by 33, doesn't leave a lot of money for everybody if they divide it out evenly. So it's really important that we make our project strong and good, but it certainly can help us in getting some of the infrastructure things that we need. So currently they are doing some CERTA is doing some stakeholder outreach, and a lot of questions that came in. We will have the frequently asked questions published tomorrow on the 13th. Then they're really going to begin summarizing the strategies in November, and in December the plan is to go to the CERTA board with their proposal that is being worked on with HWC for our ready application. And Dan is putting together some things, and we'll work jointly on an overview of a two-pager for our trades district, and hopefully will be one of them that they pick as an example of those great projects that can be coming out of the region. As a reminder, though, we do not submit the projects up front. The IEDC will be awarding the dollar amount to the regions based on the proposal of what wants to be accomplished with the strategies of the region. It's not a project-specific approval. And so then once that happens, the IEDC will be doing site visits in January. The final draft of our application is due in mid-February, and awards are being made in April and May. And then once those awards are made to the regions, that's first when they begin the project selection from IEDC. So we have a ways to go, but I felt very good. And Dan, you can chime in there after our meeting with Corey on how we can help frame what we're working on with the trades district to get some funding.
So Corey Weitzel, as she refers to, was hired by CERTA to lead the process of the application to IEDC on behalf of CERTA. We invited Corey to come out and meet with us last week so we could give him a one-on-one of the trades district project. And he was very positive about that project, and gave us reason to believe that we could get some assistance. Though initially, when this first was discussed months ago, IDC kind of made it sound like you could get $10 or $15 million per a project of the right size. But now with only $75 million allotted to 33 communities that also include Westfield and Fishers and Carmel and Zionsville and Greenfield, Noblesville, Indianapolis, the chances of getting that kind of money, I think we're really looking at $1 million to $2 million award. But nonetheless, it's worth pursuing for a lot of reasons. Corey, one thing I wasn't clear on over the weekend that you and I haven't had a chance to discuss today, it looks to me like they recalled the survey that they said they were going to send out.
They did, and they were sending a new link because they had one for community who were people who were not members of CERTA that could submit, and then they had a separate survey for those who were CERTA members. They decided to combine that, so everything was being captured in one document. So
I didn't blow it. It isn't here yet.
Right.
Okay. Be sure. I can't tell everybody how appreciative I am at the leadership that Corey's providing the city, not only in this ready front, but just on many, many fronts. You want to share some of the activities that are on the calendar?
This tomorrow, Friday the 13th, is Halloween Fest over at Civic Plaza. We are doing that jointly with the YMCA. So as of yesterday was the last time they sent me an update. We had 441 people registered to attend, so it should be a good day for the city of Lawrence. There'll be hay rides, a pumpkin patch with pumpkin painting, and 25 vendors that kids can trick or treat to, and all that stuff. So should be a fun event. And then the next big things as far as events go will be a Lawrence Christmas and Winterfest, which that kicks off on the 25th. I always look at Joe on that one. Sorry, that skating rink he brought here. No. But it's a good thing for the city. But it kicks off on the 25th of November and goes every weekend through December 23rd. So watch for more to come on that. As I mentioned, through CERTA, we are also working on some with the EPA grant. They were awarded a planning grant, and so right now we're collecting information. There is a good possibility as we look, because they're looking for a lot of shovel-ready projects, and so us and what you funded with our EV charging stations actually could be a really good fit with what's happening, and that's something else, Dan, we didn't get to touch further on today. But I think it's pretty exciting to watch where some of those things are going and how we can continue to advance Lawrence. other projects that we have. As you know, right now we're in acquisition phase, finishing up land acquisition, and we'll be going out to bid by the end of the year for the trail that goes from Lee Road, from Lee Road Park to 63rd and 63rd east to Winona Drive. And then we will hear at the beginning of December, we wrote a grant to the DNR for Next Level Trails for another $5 million. And so we should find out beginning to middle of December if we got that award or not. That was a joint grant with Indianapolis, but Lawrence will take the lead on that. So the award will come to the city of Lawrence. And that could be really exciting because that will take us Lee Road all the way to Fall Creek, and Fall Creek north to the north to that North Loop Trail just south of the Kroger property there. So that's just a few things happening, exciting things, and so we keep plugging away. Any questions?
This goes back to Reddy. The $75 million, Corey, came from the state legislature?
Yes.
Yes, that is the max that any region can get.
Right. Now, is this the first time the legislature appropriated funding for Reddy?
No, this is.
No, this is the second. The last was through ARPA funding, so it was federal money. This time it is actually state money, though, that they put into the budget.
This is going to be my last question. On the legislative agenda for the upcoming legislature, is Reddy on the agenda again this year?
No, it will not be, and it depends on who our governor is and if it's an initiative, if they want to move forward with it.
Great, thank you.
That's the end of my report. Mr. Sturwell, do you have anything?
Nothing to add.
Thank you very much, Dan. Great report. Any other business to come before the commission? No.
Well, let's all formally congratulate Commissioner Sullivan, because not everybody heard that news.
Well, that's true. Commissioner Sullivan is now a member of the IU Foundation Board.
Indeed.
That is tremendous.
Congratulations.
Big deal. Go Hoosiers.
The only other item I would have on the 14th, I think our schedule is
December 14th.
on December 14th. Yeah,
Thursday, yep.
Thursday, December 14th is our last scheduled meeting for the RDC this year. Obviously, we can't, if we were to change that, that would not be a problem. If we needed to change it, as we have in the past, to accommodate people's schedule during that very busy time of the year. So, but obviously, we'd have to schedule the meeting either the first or second week, because the last 2 weeks of December are off the table.
And that's a critical meeting because that's when we're expected to approve the EV report. So
That's what we need. And we'd want to, and we'd all want to be there for that. Reg and Jared obviously isn't here, he's on vacation. But please give some consideration to when you might be available. If the 14th looks good for your calendar, that'd be wonderful. If not, we've got some flexibility.
So you want to
Will do.
confirm that we are available, and if not, what date?
Alternative dates.
Very
yeah.
well said, thank you.
Got it. Thank you.
and I would say if we could get that by the November meeting, that would be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great. And with that, if there's no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion,
Got a motion and a second. Do a roll call vote for adjournment. Commissioner Clifford?
yes.
Commissioner Sullivan? Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
And Commissioner McGregor?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We're